All right, to get started, we need some warm water, and here is how I do it. Okay, so turn on your faucet, really warm. Now, I love my digital thermometer. So you can see right there, 114 degrees, that's perfect. But if you put your finger in and it's too hot to hold your finger in there, it's too hot. If you put your finger in and it feels like a really nice warm bath, that is how you want your temperature. So you don't have to have a thermometer, but let me tell you, this just works great. This is one kitchen tool I won't be without now. All right, so, oops, and I need 2 cups, not 1, hold on. Now, I buy my yeast in the jars like this or in the pouches, and I store it in the refrigerator because it stays longer. Now, also, if you don't use yeast very often, you can store it in the freezer and it will last years. I have stored yeast up to 5 years in the freezer and it has worked just fine. So, if you buy a jar like this and you say, well, it's so expensive to buy the little packets, but I don't use this much yeast, just throw it in the freezer and you'll be fine. All right, so now we're gonna get our yeast all dissolved. And I go ahead and add my sugar to the yeast water, and that helps activate the yeast quicker. It gives it food to eat. This recipe is in our Dining on a Dime Cookbook Volume 2 on page 109. Okay, now you don't have to use gloves. I'm just using it because I'm doing a whole bunch of videos today. I got these free at a garage sale. I had a comment, ew, when you said you got your food at a garage sale. Guys, look at yard sales and stuff. I got these at a restaurant going out of business. My spray stuff, this was $1 from a restaurant going out of business. My paraffin wax, that was from a restaurant going out of business. So don't just discount it because it was at a garage sale.
Well, if you're the ooh person, if it's at a garage sale in a closed container,
what difference
the
does
stuff
it
you
make?
get at the store has been in a warehouse with rodents and stuff
I know.
for probably 3 years before it made it to the store.
And yet you're hollering about that. Okay, so I got my flour and my baking powder. Now, if you prefer to add your sugar to this step, you can. I just put it in with my yeast. It doesn't really matter. And then my baking soda. And my salt. Okay, so you can see here my yeast is working, but you can also tell because there's a line here between where it's, you know, foaming and not, and so that's how you know your yeast is working, because it starts foaming. I'm waiting for an ingredient to come because I forgot. I didn't check to see if I had all my ingredients. I think this is only like the third time ever I've gone to the store because I didn't have an ingredient on hand.
At least you didn't pour this in, because this will be this won't be useful by then. We'll have to make some new.
Yeah. Thank you for watching our entire video. We are going to give you our Dining on a Dime Cookbook ebook, volume number 1, free at livingonadime.com. Click on our shop, click on our ebooks, click on Dining on a Dime volume 1, add it to your cart. When you go to checkout, use the coupon code DINING1 and you will get our ebook absolutely free with no obligation and no strings attached. Visit us at livingonadime.com. Okay, so we're gonna mix our baking powder, salt, if you want to add your sugar, and flour, and get that all evenly distributed. Now I put on gloves because I don't want to dig the dough out of my, well, wait a minute, I don't need to knead this yet. Oh wait, I'm not even kneading this yet. Good grief. I did all that for nothing. Okay, so a half a cup of shortening. Okay, so now I got my shortening in here, and this is how I cut my shortening into my flour. I take my fingers and I go through and just quickly push the shortening through the flour until it resembles coarse cornmeal. You don't want any loose, or you don't want any huge lumps. Just go in, and if you find a big lump, just squish it down. Okay, just like that. Get down to the bottom so it's all mixed in. All right, then, now, this yeast is still good, even though it poofed over. Just go ahead and use it as long as it's still poofy. Now, if it wasn't poofy, it wouldn't be good any longer, okay? I had a delay because I ran out of shortening. My wonderful Dave came to the rescue and went and got some for Mom. Okay, now I am going to get this all together. Now, you don't have to knead this right now, but I am going to get this in. Then add buttermilk. Now, this is my homemade buttermilk, and can you see how thick it is? Buttermilk and yogurt are basically the same thing. I let mine sit on the counter too long, so it turned into yogurt instead of buttermilk. It's totally fine. This recipe for homemade buttermilk is in Dining on a Dime Volume 1. But what I do is if it gets too thick, I just thin it with my milk, okay? Now, here's how to make homemade buttermilk. I have a video on this, but I just add my milk in here, stir it up, and let it sit on the counter overnight, and it will turn into more buttermilk. That's how you make homemade buttermilk, and it's way cheaper than the store stuff. Oh my goodness, I like very, very rarely buy homemade butter or buy buttermilk at the store because it's just so much cheaper homemade.
Do you cover it before you set it out?
Yeah, I put a lid on it. I shake it up, stir it up, put a lid on it, and leave it sitting. Okay. There's my timer for my monkey bread, which is for another video. Okay, so now we're gonna let this chill for an hour, and then we're going to knead it. Wow, if you guys knew what was happening behind the scenes to get this recipe made, you would see my hair on fire. Okay. Angel biscuits, extremely moist. Now I'm going to add a little bit extra flour. Okay, now since this biscuit dough has yeast in it, we can knead it a little bit more. And I put about 1.5 cups of flour. Okay. Now, ahead, Jack. My poor son is trying to make lunch. None of our videos have gone as expected today, so I'm like, sure, just go ahead. So don't starve my poor child. Okay, I'm reusing my parchment paper. When it's not dirty, you know, there's just a little bit of oil, I just go ahead and reuse it. Now, flour your cookie cutter, and I flour the biscuits a little bit also. These are called dog biscuits, when you just take the scraps and put them together. And where did that come from, my dove? My love?
Well, from C.W. Butch Welch from Dutch Oven and Camp Cooking.
Okay, we're gonna find a place on our other tray. And now the recipe says to spread butter on top, but I don't find the butter spreads very well. So, and I don't know why I left it that way, because actually what I do is I take and melt my butter in the microwave and then spread it on. All right, so we're just gonna brush the tops with butter. And I use salted butter. For pretty much all my cooking, unless something just really says unsalted, I always use salted butter. Oh no. This burner was on.
You got a head start cooking those biscuits.
Well, I was gonna say, did it just burn the bottom of those ones? Wow. Okay. Throw these in the oven at 400 degrees. Oh, these are looking delicious. Okay. Now, let me show this here real quick. See how my oven cooks unevenly? So when that happens, just halfway around, turn it around, and then the last couple of minutes, it'll brown up on the other side.
Okay. Didn't write a letter to Whirlpool.
Didn't write a letter. You know, my youngest son keeps saying he's gonna make a company that's Jack's Appliances that work, because he's so tired of hearing his mom complain about the refrigerator and the stove. Knock on wood, the dishwasher's the only thing working at the moment, or that it works consistently at the moment. Okay, and speaking of loud refrigerator, okay, sorry dear, thank you. Okay, here they are. Does that look delicious?
They do look delicious. Ooh, that one looks really delicious.
Okay. We'll butter it here for Mike.
Look how poofy it is.
Ooh. My taste tester. Have you gained 25 pounds the last 2 days?
Yes, it's gonna be an all meat diet for the next 3 days. And Jell-O. Mmm.
The angel biscuits are good. They're slightly sweet. And I prefer Mike's baking powder biscuits. So if you want to see those, go watch this video right here.
I see what you did there.
Yep.